Okay, we're back with another video. I haven't been able to give a video in the last couple months really. We've tried to, but we've been so busy that it takes a little bit of time, and honestly, since June, this has been one of the toughest seasons for growing grass that I've been a part of. I've been doing this for 28 years, and with the heat and humidity that we had in June all the way till now, it's been really tough for every golf course. I would put this up top 3 toughest seasons in 28 years that I've been doing it. What's been hurting us are the thunderstorms. When you have thunderstorms, when it's really hot and 95 degrees, and then if the nighttime temperatures are above 70 degrees, the grass can't respirate, it can't relax, and it's just been stressful. The last 2 months, we've only had, not counting the last 2 days, we've only had 2 days where it's been below 70 degrees. That's amazing, really. So the 70-degree temperatures at night really hurt grass. I want to talk about last week, though. Going into last week, we were excited because the whole course was looking great. It was recovering. We knew the days were getting shorter, and we were pretty much over the hill until the middle of the week when the rain hit. And we're out on 15 now. I thought it was important to show you a video today of what can happen and what did happen. So we're on 15, and the first cut of the rough got disease, and I want to explain what disease it is and how it happened. So this is 2 diseases actually. It's Pythium root, it's Pythium blight, and it's gray leaf spot. And as I've been saying in videos before, these diseases can wipe out grass within days. So the problem we had here was, first of all, it's the rough. So we can't afford to spray all the rough with fungicides. It's just way too expensive. So this is going to happen. But our biggest issue over here on 15 is Colonial Avenue. All of Colonial Avenue from the top of the hill to the south, or to the east and to the west, all flow through our golf course. So we have a big drainage pipe that collects all the water off Colonial Ave and goes straight across the middle of the fairway on 15. Well, when we get these big rainstorms, the water just sits here, and the soil just keeps, the water level just keeps adding up, and it never dries out. So over here on 15, this is strictly a water disease. And last week was so difficult because it never got below 70 degrees. And just as we know is from science class, when you have humid weather, funguses develop. This is a fungus, basically. We also ran into the problem from Wednesday through Friday. It was drizzling, there was no sun, and we couldn't spray this. Normally you can't, like I said, you can't spray all the rough, but we saw this kind of developing throughout the day. It was hour by hour I was watching this, and it was just declining quickly. But we couldn't spray it because you need the chemical to dry on top for it to work. With the mist, we would have just been wasting money. So unfortunately, we had to watch this happen. Luckily, it's just the rough, but I just want to show you how quickly this can happen. Basically from the left bunker all the way down to the approach, there's one pass here that got completely wiped out. So when you guys see this over on 15, this is strictly disease. Now the problem is we start noticing it start making it to the fairway. So yesterday we sprayed twice this fairway, and I also spiked the fairway so we could get it to dry out. The drier this gets, the less disease you'll have. Like I said, fungus develops from wet, humid conditions. So when you guys see me stressed out here, and even our guys out here working, if it's above 70 at night, it's very stressful because sometimes you can't stop this from happening. This was unavoidable. It stinks because it's completely dead. You know, I'm gonna have to reseed this area. More importantly, we've got to continue our drainage work through here. If we haven't done all that drainage work in the last 10 years, last week would have really killed us. You're still gonna see some spot. The greens are perfect. We don't have any blemishes on the greens, but you're gonna see some spots where water sat on the fairway for about 4 or 5 days and there's nothing we could do about it. Those might, you know, this down here is the disease on 15. But on some fairway spots, you'll see little areas where it's turning yellow. We're trying to save that as much as we can. But the other thing I want to mention about this is back in June, actually it was July 14th, we had a nasty thunderstorm. And it was around I remember it was a Sunday around 2:30 in the afternoon. We got a heavy thunderstorm. It was 95 degrees out, and then the sun came out right after the thunderstorm, and we started getting disease on the greens. Well, this was the disease that I was actually getting on the greens. Sorry for the helicopter there. This was the disease that we're getting on the greens, and we had during the Silver Cup, it was a little embarrassing for the members to see, but our member guests at the Silver Cup, we had to do an emergency spray. And the reason we had to spray, and I know it didn't look good, and I wish I could have explained it at the time, but this was the exact disease that we had on the greens. And if we didn't spray that day, our greens would have looked like this. So I know the greens look pretty good. They look real good right now this time of year, but there was 3 times this summer that we almost lost the greens. And that's why I thought it was important to show you this disease, not only because it looks bad, but the greens actually had this disease, and we saved it the day of the Silver Cup. So when you guys had guests out there and you saw us spraying in between groups, we were spraying for this. And this is what happens if you don't spray. You know, like this is, like I said, this is completely dead. Now there's 3 different types of Pythium. There's root rot, a blight, and a root dysfunction. We had root dysfunction. This is a blight. Okay, so this is just the leaf tips. On the greens, we had root dysfunction. And basically what that does is that it kills the root hairs of the greens, or of the roots. So the roots can't function properly. So throughout, for a full month until we got root hairs back, we had to just syringe the greens. We did not water for almost 6 weeks on the greens. In the afternoons, you saw us out there syringing. We're just trying to provide some water to the top of the grass blade so it could survive, because the root hairs on the roots were not working. So we had to do that. So when you saw us all summer syringing the greens, that was just to keep them alive. So this didn't happen. This is just a quick video. You'll see some other spots on 15 where the disease start to push in. We spray the fairways all the time, so you can see a perfect line right through here where the disease stopped, and that's because we spray the fairways. But it did start creeping in yesterday, so we had to do, like I said, an emergency spray and slit the holes. So basically what I guess, you know, we have to continue a drainage work. We still have a lot of work to do. The course overall is in real good shape. I had to show this area and try and explain it to everybody, how quickly things happen. Last week was not the week that we were looking for. There's nothing you can do about the weather. You just try to survive it. And I think that my staff last week, we saved a lot of grass. You know, I know people weren't here when it was drizzling because the weather was so bad, but we were out there with fans, blowers, squeegees, just trying to get water off the course. I know I've talked about the past, water management's the most important thing on a golf course, and this is the reason why. I'll fix this up and we'll continue to add drainage through here, but this was an unavoidable thing. And when you see it, this is just disease. This is Not because it got dry or anything like that, it's disease. And you'll also see us this week syringing some of the fairways and some of the greens. I know it rained a lot last week, but we don't have many roots on the golf course now because of the difficult summer. So we have to try to keep things alive just with a mist on top. We don't water at night, we just syringe throughout the day. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding why we're running around and trying to, we all look real busy out there, but this has been a very difficult summer. I think we've done a great job. There's no chance, everybody loses some grass on the golf course. Unfortunately, it's an area right here that's noticeable, but it's just in 120 acres. It's a small area, so we'll get fixed, and just so you could see it out there and know what you're looking at. Thanks.